Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into the hidden world of software that makes all of our smart devices, well, smart. And we're going to compare two heavyweights in this space, Yocto and Buildroot.
You know all those smart gadgets we've got everywhere? Your thermostat, the screen in your car, maybe even a fancy drone? Well, you might be surprised to find out they don't run on Windows or Mac OS. Nope, they've got something way more specialized, something custom-built from the ground up just for them.
And that's what we call an embedded Linux system. The best way to think about it is like a super customized, stripped-down version of Linux. It's got everything it needs and absolutely nothing it doesn't, making it a perfect fit for the hardware it's running on. But yeah, actually building one of these things from scratch, that is a whole other level of tricky.
So there's this old saying in the world of embedded development, never compile on the target. And what that really means is, you're not going to build the software on that tiny little device itself. I mean, come on, it just doesn't have the muscle for it. Instead, you do all the heavy lifting on a big, powerful computer. And to manage that whole crazy process, you need something called a build system. And that brings us to the main event. We're going to look at two of the absolute most popular tools for this job, the Yocto Project and Buildroot. Now, they both get you to a similar finish line, but wow, do they take different roads to get there.
Let's try an analogy, because it really helps here. Think of Buildroot as your own personal workshop. It's lean, it's efficient, you've got just the right tools for the job you're doing right now. It's fast, it's simple. Yocto, though, Yocto is like a giant, sprawling industrial factory. It's built to handle massive, complex operations, churning out entire product lines where maybe the cars share an engine but have different bodies. You get the idea?
So let's start with Buildroot. Its whole philosophy is just simplicity. That's the name of the game. Under the hood, it's really just a smart set of scripts, makefiles, if you know the lingo. They're basically just a big recipe book that tells your computer, okay, go grab this code, then build it this way, and then pack it all up into one single file that your little device can boot. It's famous for being super easy to get started with.
Okay, now Yocto is a whole different animal. I mean, it's not even just a tool. It's this huge open source project with the Linux Foundation behind it, and its goal, it's not just to spit out a single system image. No, it's designed to help you build and manage your own custom Linux distribution. It's powered by this really sophisticated engine called BitBake and uses this brilliant idea of layers. Think of layers like Lego bricks. You can stack and combine them to build all sorts of different things from a common set of parts.
So right there, that's the fundamental difference. And it all boils down to a classic trade-off every engineer has to make. Are you going for simplicity, or do you need absolute, no-holds-barred flexibility?
Let's talk about Buildroot's sweet spot. If you know exactly what your device is supposed to do, and you don't see that changing much down the line, then that workshop approach, it's perfect. It's just incredibly efficient for those kinds of single-purpose projects.
So, maybe you're a hobbyist tinkering with something, or you're building a smart gadget with a really specific job, like this Raspberry Pi running a signal processing app. For that kind of thing, Buildroot is a dream. It lets you cook up a super lean, highly optimized system that does that one thing and does it really, really well.
And man, this is where that whole lean workshop thing really shows its muscle. Just look at these numbers. This is a performance test comparing a standard off-the-shelf Raspberry Pi operating system to a custom one built with Buildroot. Because they could tune it to use special instructions in the processor, the Buildroot system was, get this, up to 6 times faster on the exact same hardware. That's not just a little better, that's a whole different league of performance.
But what if you're not just building one little gadget? What if you're responsible for a whole family of products? You know, devices that share some software but have different screens or different processors? Well, that's when you need to fire up the factory. That's when you call in Yocto.
Of course, all that industrial power comes with an industrial-sized price tag, and I'm talking about resources here. Yocto is just a lot bigger. A full Buildroot environment might need, 8 gigabytes of disk space? A Yocto setup can easily chew through 80 gigs, or even more. That's 10 times the space. So yeah, it takes more time to build, it takes more space, and honestly, it takes a lot more brain power to learn.
Okay, so how does this all shake out in a real-world test? Well, the engineers over at 3M Dev did this really cool experiment where they put these two systems head-to-head on a very specific challenge.
The challenge was pretty straightforward. Use both Buildroot and Yocto to build the smallest, most stripped-down Linux system you possibly can. We're talking something so tiny it could just boot up right from the computer's memory. This is like the ultimate test of who can be the most lean and mean.
And the results? Well, they're pretty wild. First off, both of them did an incredible job, creating systems that were less than 5 megabytes. That's tiny. But here's the kicker, the part I did not see coming. It was actually Yocto, the big, complex factory, that managed to create the smaller image. It came in at just 3.6 megabytes. How about that?
Now hold on, this doesn't mean Yocto is just flat out better. What it really shows is just how powerful and fine-grained its control can be. And you can see this in the real world, right? You see Buildroot being used all over the place for things like IoT devices or consumer gadgets, but for the really big, complex stuff, we're talking cars, airplanes, massive telecom systems, that's where Yocto really shines. It's the go-to for those industries.
So all of this leads us to the big question, the one you're probably asking right now. Which one should you choose for your project?
And the truth is, there's no single right answer. There's no winner. It really is all about picking the right tool for the job you have in front of you. If you need something simple, fast, and for a project that's pretty well defined, Buildroot is your hero. But if you're playing the long game, managing a whole family of complex products that need support for years, then the sheer power and scalability of Yocto is something you just can't ignore. That steep learning curve, it starts to look like a pretty smart investment.
So next time you pick up a smart device, think about this. What's running inside? And what did it take to build it? Did it need the quick, focused precision of that little workshop? Or did it require the massive, scalable power of the industrial factory? That's the question at the heart of it all, and it's one that every single embedded developer has to figure out.